Good morning, and this is the Report Card Show, August. If you're nervous, maybe you should be. It's show 3436 in our original It's Your Business series. It's also Fair Week. We'll take that up in our second hour. But first things first, the Report Card Show bringing together presidents of the Home Builders Association, the Real Estate Association of the Sioux Empire, which has now just over 1,000 members for the Real Estate Association. But the keynoter is Tony Bachman. Tony Bachman, Team Keller Williams. Tony, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
You know, we've got two guys on the phone right now, and there is breaking news. Who's the guy in Pittsburgh this morning?
Well, I guess it's me, Bill. Rick Trapp.
All right, Trapp. Here's the deal. I get the release from the National Home Builders Association, which shows Pittsburgh is the worst community in the country as far as prices rebounding. Do you find a lot of talk on the street in Pittsburgh?
Well, I guess I'm going to find out that today. I got to interview two realtors out here, and we're just putting our sister-in-law's house on the market. So we're just going to see where the market's at and get some feedback, and then maybe next talk show we'll see how Pittsburgh's doing.
I was so surprised when I saw that come in this morning about 6:30, and it was like, uh-oh. I know who I've got to ask about that. But again, you know, being able to tell you just why they are on that end of the spectrum, I don't know, because you always have a winner and a loser. So that's one of the things maybe you can come back and tell us about.
Yes, we will.
All right. Now, the two regular guys that are in here this morning, let's see. Bachman, are you here?
Tony Bachman, present.
All right. And who's the other guy we got?
I think we have Tom Jarding on the line.
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Well, they don't usually put you in this part of the show, so you know.
No, that's all right. I'm just here to listen for this part. Tony's got all the answers on this.
No. I said let's bring Tom into the first segment because I said we can quiz him a little bit too. So.
All right, guys, we are in August, and we're at that time of year that traditionally, when I first got a real estate license in 2002, we started looking at August as being a wind-down month. The school was going to start. People were going to be settled on housing. Tony, where are we this year?
Whatever that trend was, there is no trend like that anymore. It's all guns a-blazing, and we're moving right along. I mean, it's hard to believe here we are in August, and you know, we're talking about, you know, it's the first week of Sturgis this week. You know, that's always a big deal. We get a lot of activity, a lot of people coming through. The Sioux Empire Fair here is going on. And so it's kind of hard to believe that we're already kind of, when you get to those two segments, those two events, it's kind of like summer's winding down and we're getting ready for fall. But to the point about what's happening in the marketplace, I mean, no, there's no wind down. We're rolling right along.
When you look at the building permits, which show 175% above 2020, Tom, when you see that, what's going on and how do we keep up with that trend?
It's a good question, Bill. I mean, it's you know, just been a pace that picked up early spring and the craze. I mean, you know, they saw it on the realtor side with existing home sales and the demand to move, get into something new, and it just hasn't slowed pace here yet, and not looking like it's gonna anytime soon.
No, I don't think you're going to see anything when it comes to slowing down. I mean, the trends. I mean, I think we have enough people that keep saying, "Well, this can't continue. This can't continue." And when I look at the actual numbers themselves, it's continuing. I mean, you know, example. I mean, like inventory levels, for example, when it comes to our, you know, the monthly inventory levels. I mean, you know, right now we're sitting, you know, at the end of July, we were sitting at an inventory level of about 1,100, you know, homes, and the previous months before that, we'd been in like, you know, the 1,300, you know, 1,325, 1,382, 1,385. So when it comes to can the trend continue, I think the trend can continue in reference to low inventory, and I don't see any end in sight. But I know that you and, you know, the Sioux Falls Home Builders Association, I mean, you guys are all trying to do your best to try to keep up with what's going on. I mean, I know, and that's kind of relates to what I brought that point up to Bill about the building permits being up. I mean, the 175% is for the whole town of Sioux Falls for commercial, remodel, residential. But I think that's just a reflection of the growth and what's happening here. I mean, we're on track for $1 billion plus for building permits for 2021.
I'm going to ask you guys a little bit about the fact that the number of homes in Sioux Falls is off. We know that's the case. We know the metro is off, 5.4, 7.2% respectively. But when you look at some of those that are closest to Sioux Falls, you find that home sales in T off 12%, Hartford off 20.5%, Brandon 20.9%, Harrisburg 25.3%, and then you look at the new listings, they're off about the same. When you hear that, Rick, what's your thought? Where's it going? Where do you think we'll be in 2022?
Well, I think we're going to be steady. I mean, our market right now is going good. If we look back 2 months ago, Hartford, Harrisburg, Brandon, they were all up. You know, we were saying Madison was up 75% about 2 months ago. And now we're getting the smaller towns that need some activity because they've been just hanging out. They're not doing much, and now they're coming. So I like that we're getting a roundabout that everybody's getting involved versus just one town or two towns. So I think it's a good, and I think 2022 is going to even be better.
And when I look at those that are up, Laverne, Minnesota, up 65% as far as the home sales are concerned. Lenox is up 26%. Canton, 24%. All places that we're not used to seeing those kind of positive numbers, Tony.
Yeah, well, I think, and one of my notes was this fact that we're seeing like the local communities, the Brandons, the Harrisburgs, the Hartfords, the T's, all those are down in their home sales. But it's because, they've been shopped pretty hard. A lot of people started looking outside of the Sioux Falls, and then they were looking at those communities. Well, those communities have been shopped really hard, so their inventories are low. So now we're starting to see people are willing to drive a little further now. I mean, they're open to the idea of maybe we have to drive 25 or 40 or 50 miles. I mean, that's where even like Madison and Rick, I mean, you should be familiar. You're very familiar with this. Is that Madison with new listings is still, when it comes to home sales, is up just about 24% still. So, and then you have a couple other communities. I mean, like you said, Laverne up 65%. I mean, people are willing to drive a little further to, find that home that they need to find because of the low inventory levels here in Sioux Falls and the close communities.
And I'm used to seeing that in the summertime well off the pace, not 65% plus, but 20, 30, 40% off.
Yeah,
and
July.
maybe that's what happens. We catch up this year.
Well, and July traditionally is kind of a slower month because people are doing their, vacations and they've got ball tournaments and, events. And I think what I felt, I mean, from our perspective is we felt it kind of, I don't want to say slow down, but it kind of just backed off a little bit. The pressure wasn't quite as high in July. We were still busy. We still had a lot of activity going on. I'll be surprised, actually, once we get into August here and go into September, we're going to just shift gears into the next speed. And here we go. We're going to go back to where we're at in May and June.
All right. We're going to talk with the two presidents in the next segment, a little bit more than we're doing here. But what else do you have this morning that our listeners should pay attention to from the keynote?
Right. Well, I think some of the notes that we had in reference to, just some of the indicators, the metrics, basically we've received over 100% on prices, for list price versus selling price, over 100% since April. And we'll see what happens. That's an indicator that we kind of watch closely. And then also when it comes to the median sales price, I mean, we've seen that median sales price since January of 2021 on average increase by about 15%. A lot of pressure on those homes that are less than 250, meaning that we're seeing a lot of activity, people that are looking for their first time home. And those homes, that's where we're seeing a lot of those people where they're coming in, 5,000, 10,000, plus over list price so they can still, get that home. We're still seeing multiple offers, probably not as fast frenetic. I mean, in reference to, we were seeing like 10 offers. Now we only see 2 or 3 offers on homes.
Are half of those zooming in? Are there other places that maybe haven't even seen the properties?
There's a few, not as many as you would think. It seems like, we've, I would say that there's an occasional investor that comes in from outside and they're just giving me the details, give me the rough idea of the area and all that. And they say, okay, let's go, let's do this. But I think that, and then the new listings, from the previous year, I mean, they're down considerably. But if we just take like this year's trend since March, we've been consistently between 600 to 700 new listings a month. But on average over the last 12 months, we're down about 12%. So again, this whole thing about, inventory being down, prices, still over that 100%, which on average we're getting for, the offers. And we don't see anything changing at this point. We're hoping that we can free up, get a few more listings. The builders are able to free up some developments and, accommodate, which they're all trying to do as quickly as possible. So we'll just keep our nose to the grindstone, and, we'll just keep working on this and trying to help our clients. And we've got a number of clients that, when it comes to the first-time home buyers, they're working. We're taking care of them. We're having these conversations, and it may take a couple months, but we'll find one.
Our next report card show will be a week after Labor Day. You mentioned no change. Do you think we'll see any change in the next 30 days?
I think these numbers are going to be fairly similar. I mean, we've seen fairly consistent numbers, since March, so I don't really see any major changes. There's always little outliers and small nuanced things that happen, but I think we as a community are going to continue to grow and go, and we got people that are looking from all around the area. I mean, we got a number of people that are coming from out of state because they've heard about South Dakota, and yes, our prices have been rising, but nowhere near to some of the levels at some of these other communities, like, for example, Pittsburgh, where Rick is at right now.
We'll have another question or two for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tony Bachman, the keynoter, appreciate your visit. We'll check with the prezes next.
Thank you, Bill.